Hi, this is Steve Rutledge, and this is a video on how to do corrections for a journal or a paper. Oh, wait a minute. There, that's better. So you probably got back your first journal, and it looks okay, but it does have some of these strange circles and these codes. This person has 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Well, each circle indicates that you made an error in a particular place. This person made an error here, 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 here. And then the code on top, like SS2, SS2, 11G, and 1, indicates what type of error has been made. Your job is to look at each error you've made, look up that particular code in the corrections handbook, and then produce something that looks like this. This is a correctly done corrections assignment. It has the 4 errors corrected, and it explains what the person did to make the corrections. So now that you know what a corrections assignment looks like, let's go through the steps on how to create this. Step 1, number your errors. In this case, this person made 1, 2, 3, 4 errors, so when they number their errors, it will look something like this right here. Here they took a pen and they wrote number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 in the order that they appear in the paper. Okay, we've done step number 1. Let's go on to step number 2. Open a separate Microsoft Word document and give it a proper heading. Okay, here's a nice new clean Word document. Let's give it a proper heading. Let's call this person Josh Ing. And let's go ahead and make sure we tell the instructor which journal it is. Well, in his case, it was the Consalvi Journal 1 corrections paper. And finally, let's give the date so that there's no confusion about which assignment this is. Oops, the spacing's not quite right on this one, is it? Let's go ahead and go in here to paragraph. Let's not have any of these extra spaces. And let's go ahead, like all assignments in this class, and double space. There, that looks better. Finally, we need to have a title, and this is simply titled Corrections. No problem. I know who the student is. I know which assignment is being corrected. I have the date, and I have a simple title. The first thing Josh will do is go ahead and attack error number 1. So he might look back at his assignment and see that he made an SS2 error. His next step would be to look up the SS2 code in the corrections handbook. If you go into the Cobra section for this particular class and into Content, you'll see a tab over here that says Corrections Handbook, and you can go ahead and download the handbook. So when the handbook is correctly downloaded and opened, it'll look something like this. This is the table of contents, and Josh could see, hey, the SS rules, those are right in the beginning, and there they are right there, page 2. And there's his first error, SS2. Now Josh has the ability to read why I circled that add an error, and it reads here, try not to leave off the S off the verb when the subject of the sentence is singular. Singular means only one. Well, maybe that explanation makes sense to Josh, maybe it doesn't, so he can read the examples. Sam feel bad when he realized what he has done. The subject is singular, Sam. Singular means one, there's one person. Well, when the subject is singular, unbelievable. Okay, this is embarrassing. I wrote this book about good grammar and punctuation, and I just noticed I left an error right there. We better correct that, huh? All right, that shouldn't say same, that should say Sam. Well, that's better. Okay, Sam feels bad when he realizes what he's done. That's the way this sentence should be written. Singular subject like Sam. If the verb is present tense, that verb should have an S. Sam feels bad. So maybe after Josh reads through some of these examples, he can go back to his own paper and see he made the same type of error. Consalvi is one person. Well, he wrote, Consalvi looked like a harmless prankster who delight the crowd with his hilarious 2-minute run. Oh, wait a minute. Consalvi's a singular subject. That verb look should take an S, looks. And in fact, that verb delight should also take an S, delights. So Josh needs to go back to his corrections page, and for error number 1, that SS2 error, he needs to write just enough of the correction to show me that he knows how to make the correction. Looks like. All right? Notice that he didn't have to rewrite the whole sentence. I'm not asking you to rewrite the paragraph. Don't rewrite the paragraph. You won't get full credit for this assignment. Just write enough of the sentence to show me that you made the correction. But Josh isn't done yet. The next thing he has to do is he's got to tell me what change he made and why he made that change. And you can just write this really simply, something like this. I changed look to looks. And here's the important part. You always got to tell me why. See, I'm interested not just that you can make a few changes that I pointed out. I'm interested that you've learned why that was an error in the first place and how you make the correction. So make sure you have this word because. That's going to convince me you know why you had to make the change. And here he goes. He says, I changed look to looks because the subject was singular, so the verb needed an S. So now Josh is ready to do correction number 2. And fortunately, I guess for him, he made the same type of error twice. Once again, he had a singular subject, who, and then he had that verb, delight, needed to take that S in the present tense. It shouldn't say who delight the crowd. It should say who delights the crowd because it is a singular subject. Sometimes people ask me, well, hey, since it's the same type of error, do I actually have to write 2 different corrections? And my answer is, the answer is yes, because what we're working with here is your brain. And there it is. It's a nice brain. And your brain needs to repeat things again and again and again in order to remember them. So yes, on the corrections page, Josh does need to write who delights, and then he needs to explain again. I changed delight to delight because the subject was singular, so the verb needed an S. Josh would now move on to his third error, and that's this one down here, 11G. Again, he's going to look up 11G in the handbook, and these numbers go in order, so he's going to have to go quite a ways down. You have the SS rules first, and you've got errors 1, 2, 3, so forth. Here it is right here. Rule 11G. There, there, there. Ah, says Josh, I made an error in choosing the wrong type of there. By the way, note this. He's writing the correct version. Sometimes I will have people, for reasons I can't explain, who will type in the incorrect version. Now, I don't want your brain learning the incorrect version again. I want you learning the correct version. So type the corrected version, again, just enough. He doesn't have to rewrite the whole sentence, just enough to show me he can correct the error. And then, as always, the all-important explanation. Because, that's right, BC, okay, because there means they are. And I really meant there for a place. Now the next time he goes and he types in THEY', his brain hopefully will tell him, hey look, I don't want to do that correction again. I hate doing those. Really teach himself how to do grammar and punctuation correctly and not just doing a few quick corrections. Okay, error number 4 was a code number 1. So again, he looks up in the handbook, code 1. And code 1 is all the way back at the beginning. Remember, these go in order. They start with the SS rules and then just start with the numbers in order. Okay, run-on sentence. A run-on occurs when you place 2 complete thoughts together without inserting appropriate pauses. Well, if we look back at Josh's sentence, yeah, he did that. He put 2 complete thoughts together with no appropriate pause. Look at that big thing. He wrote, like me, the crowd and players seem to look at Consalvi like a harmless prankster. Consalvi reminds me of my friend Bill Erickson. Well, he totally missed the pause here, didn't he? Well, what punctuation mark do you normally put between 2 complete thoughts? Hint, it's not a comma. Let's take a look at it back in our handbook. Josh looks back at his handbook and he says, oh, how not to fix a run-on. Do not just add a comma. Okay, he's not going to do that. Here we go. Here's how to fix a run-on. When you have two sentences running together, you can add a period or a semicolon if they're related, or somehow you could combine the sentences, and here's some different ways to combine them. But Josh is kind of getting tired of this, so he wants to get it done quickly. He says, hey, I'm just going to put a period between them. Again, he's going to type in just enough of the correction to show me that he can make it. Hit Control-Z and get rid of that capital P. And of course, coming the all-important explanation. I added, in fact, let's just go ahead and put number 4 on the next page so it doesn't look confusing to the teacher when he grades it. That's me. I added a period because there were two complete thoughts running together. And there you have it. Josh has done his corrections assignment. Let's go through these steps really quickly one more time. First, Josh saw he made 4 errors, and he went ahead and numbered them. When he numbered the errors, they looked like this. Next, Josh opened a Microsoft Word document, put his name, corrections, and gave it a nice little quick title. And then he went through and corrected error number 1. He looked up in the handbook. Remember, that was code SS2. He looked it up, found out he left off an S. He wrote the correct version, not the wrong version, the corrected version, just enough to show me he can make the correction. He then explained what he had to do, why he did what he did. Always use that word because. That's really going to convince me you know why you had to make the change that you did. His second error was an SS2 error also, but again, it's good for his brain to do the rote memorization, so he went ahead and typed in again the correction he had to make. His third error was an 11G error, so he looked up and found out he made the wrong there. So he wrote just enough of the correction and then explained why he made the change he made. Finally, his last one was a run-on, so he added a period and then he explained below why he added that period. Now look carefully at this assignment. Notice Josh did not rewrite the paragraph. I am not asking you to rewrite your journal or the paragraph. What I'm asking you to do is take each of those errors individually and teach yourself what you did wrong and what you need to do to make the correction. Make it look exactly like what you see here. If it varies from what you see here, I may not be able to grade it, and you'll probably get some points marked off. Okay, that's how to do corrections. I hope you'll do your corrections papers really well. It may just save you from an epic fail in your next tattoo. Or this one's my favorite, misspelling at your job. Remember, these are your errors, and you're just helping teach yourself so that you become better. I still remember a student several years ago. She turned to the class and actually said, this method works. And it does, because they're your errors, and you're correcting them, and you're helping yourself get better. All right, see you in class soon.